live in a world of rapidly accelerating global changes. While explosions of information and new communication technologies have expanded awareness of our global unity, our closest relationships are becoming more complex, and intimacy is under pressure. Individuals are more isolated. Marriages and families frequently lack stability. Single parents and working mothers are more common. Bottom line, all of our relationships are changing.
Our roots are small-town, farm, agrarian roots, where we were brought up to be dependent on ourselves and nobody else. In fact, dependency became a bad thing. You were weak if you were dependent. Today, what we're seeing emerge in relationships are not dependent relationships, but interdependent relationships. The real fact is we need each other in order to succeed. I cannot achieve my vision. I cannot achieve my goals without you or someone like you. Life does not occur in a vacuum.
As Benjamin Franklin said, we must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately. But in the face of today's challenges, hanging together is only the beginning.
We are now to a point where the boundaries are all artificial. There's only one boundary, and that's planet Earth. That's the boundary. And it may be in the future that we'll begin to see that we are partners with the solar system. But the way that we can see it now is that we're all in this together. And we'll either win together or we'll lose together. Nobody's going to be exempt from there's no air to breathe. No one is exempt from the next nuclear disaster. No one's exempt from the rainforest being cut down.
Ironically, despite the revolution in global communications, our personal communications, the expression of who we are for each other, is not keeping pace with the changes. And this relationship dilemma challenges us all.
Are you keeping pace with the changes? In a moment, we'll be asking you to examine your own relationships and giving you a real opportunity to look at the quality of these relationships.
It's your life we're talking about. The quality of your relationships is up to you. In any case, we sincerely appreciate you taking the time to examine your life this way. Because for the most part, we just go on in life as we've always gone on.
Or, as Will Rogers said, even if you're on the right track, if you just sit there, you'll get run over.
In your life, up until now, whether you consider yourself successful or not, you've really done the best you can. This program is an invitation for you to open up new areas for success, to impact the quality of your relationships, and for you to more fully express the unique gift that you are. Here are some questions which only you can answer.
Consider your relationships, including your relationship to communities, local and global, your relationship to others at home or where you work, and your relationship to yourself. Do these relationships work the way you want them to? What's working in your relationships? What's missing in your relationships? In your relationships, what kind of a difference are you making? What kind of a difference could you make? Are you bringing your passion and your commitment to your relationships?
We get people out of the past. In other words, if something happened to me when I was younger that caused me to pull myself back and to say, isn't safe out here. It isn't safe to give my heart away. It isn't safe to be with people in a vulnerable way. And as a consequence, I pull myself back. What we do in the course is get people to see that, one, that happened back there then. And it's not necessarily what's going to happen now. And mostly, I suppose, is to have people really get in touch with just how wonderful it is to relate with people and to love them.
Though most of us are unaware of our past patterns, we continue to reproduce them, much like a self-fulfilling prophecy. In this way, we keep running over the same track, producing the same result. If you keep going the way you're going, you can only end up where you're already headed. Or, as Rita Mae Brown said, The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Where are you headed anyway? What does it take to change past patterns, to open up new possibilities for your relationships, to lay new track? The first step is to create a vision. A vision brings the future to life and provides a structure for laying new track. Declaring your vision is an act of freedom which releases you from the past.
What makes my life worth living? What is it that I am passionately committed to? What is it that if I completed, I've done or gone a long way to completing my life's work? And a vision, of course, is invented. We make up our vision. We say, boom, this is what I'm up to.
By declaring your vision, your future becomes like a blank canvas on which you paint your life's adventure. The next step requires a kind of leap of faith in yourself. It's how all the world's great leaders create important changes. When Martin Luther King declared his dream, there was no roadmap of how he was going to get there. Neither did John F. Kennedy have a clear idea of how to put a man on the moon when he announced his vision for the space program.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
They live their lives as you can live your life, with the kind of faith in yourself that comes from knowing what you stand for. That knowing comes from your commitment to your own heartfelt desires. But because we naturally look for how to do it before we commit, we withhold commitment. Yet it is this commitment before we know how it will happen that actually determines whether it will happen.
The way you get into action on vision is to get that you are a visionary. You know, we've got it in our thinking that there are certain few people who are visionaries and all the rest of us are like these drones. I don't think it's that way. I think we're all visionaries. And if we'll just get sensitive to and begin to listen to ourselves and listen to our hearts speak and begin to expand on that and work with it and shape it, eventually we're going to get our hands on that vision.
No matter what kind of changes we want to make in our relationships, once we are committed, we find a way to do it. Finding out how takes some real trial and error, so the how-tos naturally change along the way. But when your vision comes from your heart, it becomes the guiding star or purpose around which you organize yourself. And in this way, it provides direction for your actions.
Vision's difficult to get to because it's not an intellectual process. It's an experiential process. And we don't have very many places we can go and not be intellectual, because intellectual is safe. Now, I'm all for safety, don't misunderstand me. But when I start to experience myself, when I start to let myself go and become vulnerable and be with people, more of who I am is available. And it takes almost all of me available in order to get my hands on my vision. It's not like I don't have one. So the real trick is, how do I get my hands on it? How do I get it up here so I can do something with it?
But what is it that provides the drive and motivation to lay new track? It's your heartfelt or burning desire, your mission, the special gift that you have to give, the purpose which gives your life meaning. We recommend that you check with your heart of hearts before you declare your vision, because once you begin to live your vision, you see the gap between what's possible and the way it is. And one must have courage and be willing to take risks in order to face this gap.
Once you've declared your vision, it's important to note that there is no physical evidence to support it yet. So the declaration of your vision produces an immediate challenge, and it's natural to face fear of the unknown and doubts about the future. That's why living your vision is sometimes called living on the skinny branches. For most of us, creating a vision and living by it is like exercising a muscle that we haven't been using. Like the ad says, just do it. With practice, you become aware of getting stronger and that you're becoming someone that you haven't been before.
when each of us looks inside ourselves in our own sort of private moment, what we're going to see is, yeah, that's it. That's something, that vision. That's what my life is about. Do I get the honor and privilege that it could be to be about that, to bring that into reality?
So what's next for you in your relationships? What is it that you are really committed to? How would your relationships be different if you lived your life based on your own heartfelt vision? What concerns do you have about your relationships? Are you willing to be in relationship with others in a new way?
The answers to these questions are only a starting point. The next step is empowering yourself with the 3 fundamentals of self-empowerment.
Create a vision for your life and your relationships. Remember that vision is not based on your past. Contribute to other people, because the way to be empowered is to first learn to empower others. Build a support system to keep yourself on track. Don't try to go it alone. World-class athletes use coaches, actors use directors, and organizations use consultants, because no matter how successful you may be, as another set of eyes, a coach can support you by seeing things that you simply cannot see by yourself.
Creating your vision and acting consistently with that vision certainly takes determination, because there will be difficult moments along the way.
If you know that I'm truly committed to what you want, you're going to be a different person just out of that relationship. And I'm going to be able to stand for you when you can't stand for yourself, when you're not up to it, when, you know, on those days when things are rough and it's just not all clicking the way you thought it would. I can say, hey, it's going to be okay.
Whether you're most concerned with your relationship with yourself, your relationships with others, or your relationship with your communities, local or global, together, you and I have an unprecedented opportunity to transform the quality of all our relationships, and thus to invent a world where everyone wins.
It's up to us to stand for one another and for the planet in such a way that it works for everyone. You know, if we keep on the same path that we're on right now, we're not going to be turning over a very equitable property to our children. And that's one thing I think about a lot, because I have 3 kids, and I'm thinking about my kids and my grandchildren and their children, and I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. We've got to start now to invent the future that wasn't going to happen anyway.
Lifespring would consider it an honor to assist you in creating and implementing your vision. Our commitment is that you experience a profound shift in your ability to relate to yourself and to others. We will empower you to take on your heartfelt commitments with total freedom and with passion.